Well, the play came out of a casual conversation I had with Dom Bromelo in about 2011, and we were just standing talking, and he said to me, "I bet you don't know what my other job is," and then proceeded to tell me that he was the local dog man. And I thought that meant dog catcher. But he then went on to tell me how he lived on a bush block up near Newgee, and after living there for a short time, they began to realise they had a pack of wild dogs living on their property. There was a live, let live situation, but eventually Dom was forced to take action about the dogs. He found that there were reasons they couldn't live with the dogs, and so he became really a hunter and shooter and a trapper. Probably about a couple of months later, I was in the Hub Gallery down at Yarragon, and I saw the work of a local artist, Paula Manziak. And it's a really powerful image. It just leapt off the wall at me because it was a man reaching out to a yellow dog, a wild dog, a dingo. And, it sort of hit me. I went, oh, it's the same story. I have to tell this story. And so there and then I just decided that my next piece of work for the theatre would be a story about a man and wild dogs.
I guess it's different to doing something that's been previously performed, because you can interpret it, and there's a certain amount of freedom, but there's also an expectation from the audience that you have to be consistent with, I guess. So a new work, I feel like I've got free rein in some respects, but then working with the playwright in the room is another thing too. It's interesting because so much of what the story is about was written, but then there's this devising process that you've got to add elements and scenes to the play, and you do kind of feel like you're kind of fiddling around with someone else's baby, which it can be a little bit nerve-wracking, because you don't want to sort of anyway compromise the initial work that you read and went, oh yeah, I can do this, I can see what you're doing.
I guess you're never totally in control of how a creative work comes out. You start the work thinking, well, it's going to be this, and it ends up that. I'm really fortunate that Off the Leash has a wonderful artistic director, Amy Moss, and when Amy read the play, fortunately for me, she kind of got what I was on about and was prepared to do some work devising the roles of the wild dogs.
So I'm Cameron Gray, and I play one of the wild dogs in Jeannie Haughton's production of Wild Dogs. And my character came about through the devising process of these characters. As these characters weren't written, we had the freedom of being able to explore different types of characters. And I play an interesting character. I won't give too much away, but it's fun to play, but it's one of the wild dogs.
It was actually a bit scary first time without a script, because the script itself had been written for the human characters, and then there's the dog characters which have been developed as we've gone through. So it's been, I guess, exciting as well, because we've been developing the characters as we think they are, as well as having Jeannie and Amy's input too. It's been a very difficult process, I'd say, at times. Unsure of if we're doing it the right way, but it's really coming together now. I hope not too much, because my character is a little bit precious initially. She's a domestic dog. She doesn't really know if she's sure about living out in the country, and she ends up having a bit of a change of heart throughout the play. So I guess a little bit, but not too much of my own personality in there. But yeah, some little token parts, definitely.
Well, character is very different to my personality, so no, not a lot. But the benefit of having that freedom was that we were able to explore characters that aligned with people's strengths and their abilities, and as well as the makeup of a pack of wild dogs. So we had that freedom. Obviously, there was a storyline that we wanted to follow and things that we wanted to happen with these characters, but the intricacies of them have been able to develop through the whole creative process.
It's been really interesting because we've got a lot of people that I've never worked with before in terms of being actors, and so they each bring something new that I hadn't necessarily thought of. So in terms of, although there was domestic dogs and wild dogs in the play, Jeannie hadn't really written characters for those dogs. So that's kind of been interesting to work with the actors because I've taken something that I've been able to see in them as performers and draw it and make that their strength of their character. So there's been a lot of freedom in that, and that's been really enjoyable, is sort of sitting back, watching actors interrelate with each other and perform, and then going, okay, I can see that avenue for your character. So that's been really fun and rewarding.
Wild Dogs is a terrific story, a local story, so they're going to get that. They're also going to see and read into as much as the story or to the depths that they'd like to. Each of the wild dog characters are somewhat symbolic, as well as introducing different sorts of themes and elements throughout the story and throughout the play.
Wild Dogs, Off the Leash Theatre. It's a co-production with West Gippsland Arts Centre, and it's coming to Warrigal on the 25th and the 26th of October, and to Pakenham, Cardinia, on the 2nd of November.
Looking forward to seeing you at our production of Wild Dogs on the 25th and 26th of October at the West Gippsland Arts Centre.
Wild Dogs, it's going to be a great production. Come and see it. It's at the West Gippsland Arts Centre on Friday the 25th and Saturday the 26th of October.
So come along and support local artists and writers and performers at West Gippsland Arts Centre on the 25th and 26th of October. Come see Wild Dogs, it's going to be awesome.
Please come and see it.